Windsor-Essex Children's Aid Society is excited to launch an innovative podcast titled Inspiring Community. The Society is very aware of the diverse, multifaceted elements of our community that come together to support children, youth, and families as they celebrate success and rise to overcome significant financial, social, and mental health challenges. Hosts Mike Clark, Manager of Public Relations and Fund Development, and Tina Allen, Manager of Community Outreach, will be reaching out to many of the Society's community partners and resource organizations to provide insight and helpful suggestions to help overcome these obstacles. The goal will be to provide a practical toolkit for listeners on topics such as managing parenting issues, financial strain, self-care, strengthening relationships, and so much more. The hope is that by talking with community experts, listeners feel more connected within a community of support. Join us as we look at new ways to reach for a better tomorrow.
Welcome, everyone, to Inspiring Community, a podcast of the Windsor-Essex Children's Aid Society. Joining us today, Brandon McBride, Canadian Olympian and co-founder of McBride Youth United Association. Welcome, Brandon. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Brandon, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your Olympic career, and what you are up to these days?
Yeah, so my name is Brandon McBride, born here in Windsor, Ontario. I love me some Windsor. I've been all around the world, but Windsor holds a special place in my heart. In terms of what I'm up to currently, or maybe I should start with the past. And so I am a two-time Olympian in the sport of track and field. I did the events 400 and the 800. I started off when I was very, very young. And so in high school, I just remember constantly hearing that, a Canadian can never compete on the world stage and whatnot. And I kind of had a playful ignorance, I guess we can say. And so I just always believed in myself. I always thought that, hey, if I made the right decisions, I worked hard enough, I could truly accomplish anything. And so I kind of took that mindset into sport, and it worked out well. I ended up receiving a scholarship down to Mississippi State University. It was an odd choice, but I chose the coach. I felt as though I was choosing a family and not an actual academic institution, even though they do have great academics down there, but they took great care of me. And then from there, I went on to sign professionally after I graduated with Adidas International, and stop me at any time if I'm rambling. But
no.
I traveled the world. I've been to 40 to 50 different countries and whatnot competing. I spent the better part of my professional career ranked in the top 8 in the world. My highest ranking, or I guess lowest, if depending on how you look at it, was 3rd in the world. And it was very, very stressful. But it was a wonderful experience. And so I'll pause there. What I'm up to right now. I currently work in finance. I'm an analyst. I'm the guy behind the screen, crunching the numbers, kind of supporting our advisors and whatnot. And then I also run a nonprofit organization geared towards assisting at-risk youth and basically bridging the gap between where they currently are and where they want to be, or where we believe they can be in the future. And so, I'm pretty busy.
And we'll hear more about your mentors, but
Yes.
You have an important person in your life, too, that helps you with this organization and who is the co-founder of McBride Youth United Association, and that's Yesmina Captan.
Yes, my partner.
Yes,
Yes.
wonderful person.
Yes, thank you. She's amazing. She's my everything. I wouldn't be here today, if it wasn't for her. She's helped me through a lot, and helped me build the organization and helped me through very, very tough times in my athletic career and whatnot. And so, yes, we've been through a lot together, but yeah.
And so the premise around about your program is really around mentorship.
Yes.
And that's woven into all of the programs that you provide. And so you've learned a lot about mentorship in your life and that powerful impact. Can you talk more about your experiences and how this led to establishing the McBride Youth United Association?
Right. And so I guess it begins, at the beginning of my journey, really. When I first started off, I needed resources, I needed guidance, and my parents did a wonderful job providing the basics, but they just didn't have any knowledge in track and field, or what it was like to go to post-secondary institution or whatnot. And so that's where a lot of mentors in my life stepped up. And honestly, I know I said it about my partner, but I also wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for very important mentors along the way. And so I just remember, them guiding me in my university selection. Also, when I became a professional athlete and putting things into place where, it helped me a great amount throughout my career and whatnot. And so they never asked me for anything. And so that's where the passion comes from, when it comes to the organization, the nonprofit organization. And that's why I believe heavily in the power of mentorship, because it's helped me and I've been able to personally see it, change and transform my life.
Yeah, essentially, the kind of world that you've lived in is like an athletic world. And, things have evolved around that in the sense of sportsmanship, being a team player, working together as a team. So with that in mind, how would you put this in context for someone who would like to be a support or a mentor to a youth, like bringing those things together?
Right. And so I would start by saying that no one makes it through the journey alone. It really takes a village. It takes a community, a team, in order to get an individual through this tough journey we call life, right? And so I would start with that, and then I would go on to say that I would talk to the individual about pivotal moments in their life and individuals that have helped them throughout their life, and then I would say, what if they didn't have these individuals? And more often than not, the individual that I'm speaking to would say, well, I would be very, very difficult. And so I would then say, then we see that it's important for you to step in and help these young youth through their journey, because not everyone has the proper support and whatnot. And so whenever anyone thinks of giving, charity work, and so on and so forth, they often think of, I just have to give resources and whatnot. And so it doesn't always come down to resources. I mean, I would be foolish to say that we aren't living in hard times with inflation being out of control and whatnot, but it could be something as simple as just giving your time once a month, once a week, and so on and so forth. And just, using the skills that you've acquired through life to assist an individual through their journey, a younger individual.
It's so transformative for a child or a youth in that situation, but oftentimes the person giving of their time, the mentor, the volunteer, don't realize how transformative it is for them as well, and how much that they grow from that experience. Yes. So it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yes, agreed.
Now, the work that you do at the McBride Youth United Association, I mean, it's really exciting. And, a lot of great results, a lot of things happening for youth. So can you tell us a little bit more about those programs that are offered there? And perhaps, we're touching on mentorship and mentors. Maybe just a couple examples of some of the mentors that, are associated with your program.
Yes. I'll start with the mentorship program and how I decided to, or why I decided to create it. I remember towards the tail end of my career, I would oftentimes sit at tables just like the one we're sitting at right now with other Olympians and whatnot. And what would often come up is, hey, I wish I would have known this when I first started the sport. Hey, I wish I would have had these tools in my 21-year-old body and whatnot. And so it kind of sparked the idea of, why not facilitate the knowledge transfer from one generation to the next? And so I don't I looked at our current system, our sports system, and I don't think we do a great job of that currently. And so, I was just trying to fill a gap, and that's where the idea from the mentorship program came from. And so it just started with a couple of my peers, a couple of Olympians and whatnot, a couple of individuals that I'm fairly close with that know my heart and know what I'm trying to do. And so, what I found is that a lot of professional athletes and Olympic caliber athletes, they want to give back. It's very hard coming from a sport background. Sport can be very, very cutthroat. And so these individuals tend to have, for lack of better words, trust issues. They don't just trust just anyone, right? And so I found that if we can give them a name or a face that they recognize and whatnot, that it's much easier for them to donate their time. And so oftentimes, even when we do try to give them gift cards and whatnot, they're like, oh, no, just pass it on to my mentee and whatnot. They did a great job this past week competing and whatnot. And so as long as we build the trust, we have several individuals that have wanted to or still want to give back and mentor. And so,
are the youth starstruck that these are professional athletes and Olympians that are mentoring? Do they even have a clue that that's the case?
Yes.
Or they're just happy that someone's spending this time and focusing on them.
So they tend to get starstruck after a while. Not after a while, but at first. But then after a while, they get to see the regular person,
right. The human side.
The human side and not the athletic side or the athlete side. And I think that's very, very important because the youth need to see that, hey, this person puts on their pants one leg at a time, just like them. And, just because they've accomplished these great things or whatnot, doesn't mean that they are they are extraordinary, but they are, more than human or something of that nature. And so just understanding that it helps build their confidence and helps build their belief that they can too accomplish these great things.
Mm-hmm. And you have an after-school program, and
yes.
You'll be running a summer camp program.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about those programs and where they are located?
Yeah, so we have an after-school program that's located at Sandwich Teen Action Group. And so we have a classroom and office in there. And so it's funny because it really just started off as a kind of like a tutoring session and whatnot. And if you talk to anyone that's close to me, they tell you that I'm very, very analytical and I'm constantly looking to improve things. And so one of the things I noticed is that the kids would finish their homework early, they would get their meal in and whatnot, and they would just kind of sit around. And so, one time I just said, hey, let's play some educational games and whatnot. And they seemed to really enjoy that. And so I kind of, I assessed the situation, and I just kind of kept building off of that. And, our program the after school program has been running at Stag for a little less than a year, but I feel as though I think that we've gone through so many iterations of the program. We're just constantly changing things, constantly adding something or taking things out based on how the kids are responding to it. And I find that that's helped us become very successful, and a lot of kids absolutely love our program. If you talk to the team, they would probably tell you the kids love it a little too much because we've had a little bit of tension with some other organizations, but it's all good. It's all fun. And then we also have our camps. So we have two camps, one for at-risk youth, and then we have one for newcomer youth. We're partnering with Athletics Canada to help, inspire or try to attract newcomer youth into the sport of track and field. And so we're going to tie in the whole Olympic theme and get some Olympians to come and talk to the kids. And we have some organizations in Toronto that want to be a part of it. And so we're going to bust some kids in. It should be a lot of fun and very interesting.
Wow.
So,
Can we come?
Yes.
Well, it's
Yes,
pretty
you're more than welcome.
cool with this year being an Olympic year that you're able to incorporate a lot of that as well, because, they're going to be watching it on TV and seeing it everywhere. So to sort of bring that all together.
Yes. We've done a great job keeping it fun for both sides. So keeping it fun for the kids and keeping it fun for the volunteers and the mentors and whatnot. And I remember I was just on a call with a few different Olympians, and I always take my time to reach out and make sure each one of them feels special, because they are special, but I just want to make sure that they understand that I'm very grateful for what they do and whatnot. And so we have a few of them that are still competing. And so, unfortunately, they won't be able to speak at some of our conferences coming up over the summer. And they, each one of them said, hey, do you mind postponing it, because I do want to fly in to see the kids, and so on and so forth. And so I think that it shows that we're doing a great job keeping it fun for everyone, that all of the individuals involved want to be a part of every single event. So
Right. And I had the pleasure of seeing you in action with the youth conference that we hosted here at the Children's Aid Society back in April. It feels like it's so far away. And it was just fantastic. And I really enjoyed it, sitting back and watching the dynamics between you, your team, and the youth. And there was a broad range of youth at that event.
Yes.
So this is a presentation that you do for young people around your journey and having passion, the grit, the perseverance. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that talk covers and why that's so important to you?
Yes. So the talk covers just essentially grit, which is using passion and perseverance, your journey towards, achieving long-term goals. And so finding, describing passion as in finding something that, sets your heart or soul on fire, or something that you're so passionate about that you can't go a day without thinking about, something that you can stick to for a long period of time. And so, oftentimes when I say a long period of time, the kids often raise their hand. They're like, "Oh, you mean for a few weeks, a few months?" And I have to correct them and say, "No, we're talking years, right?" And so I like to put things in perspective, because a lot of kids think that everything should be so instantaneous. Everyone thinks that, I always joke around and say that, technology has brainwashed us to believe that everything should be so instant. And so I try to use the presentation to kind of introduce, a lot of different concepts and share what my journey was like and the ups and downs within my, within my journey and whatnot. And so I try to be as vulnerable as possible, because a lot of kids, they look at someone that's, competing on the big stage, or the head of a corporation, or whoever it may be, and they only see the good that the person has done, or they only see the positives. They don't see the stress, the downs, the lows, and so on and so forth. And so I try to be very transparent with the groups of kids that I talk to during these presentations. And so, that's just a bit about it.
Yeah. I find it seems that kids today, if it looks hard, they're fearful of it, and it's a non-starter. It's hard to get them to move, to take that action. And I know, as a volunteer coach, sports coach myself, I see that a lot with kids. And I found this really interesting quote, without grit, talent may be nothing more than unmet potential. And I really see that in a lot of the marginalized youth that I come into contact with in the sports world as well. And but just to kind of move them out of their comfort zone is really where that growth starts to happen. And it's the most rewarding, back to my point earlier about that reward as a mentor. Sometimes it's just, it's equally rewarding, if not more, to see them, really see their potential and and think, maybe I can do this if I try a little harder and work a little harder.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, we're living in very kind of interesting times, and it's kind of a real scary world in many ways out there. And we see evidence of that firsthand with a lot of our youth here at the Windsor-Essex Children's Aid Society and a number of the challenges that they face.
Yes.
So, what issues concern you that our youth face today?
Well, the largest issue I would say is just the technology piece and how that impacts them. It impacts the way they process things and the way they approach life. Like I said before, it's almost like it's brainwashing, everyone into believing, false beliefs about everything, how things are done, and more specifically in this context, how to accomplish things. And so you talk to the average youth nowadays, and they think that the second that they pick up a soccer ball, that they should be the next Lionel Messi or something of that nature, or they pick up a basketball, they should be the next late great Kobe Bryant or something like that overnight. And so it's concerning because everything is just so instant on the phone and whatnot, and so I try to do my best to explain to them that, hey, these things take time. Practicing, Malcolm Gladwell, the 10,000 hour, or what is it? It's 10,000 hours. But yes. So anything that's worth having takes time, and so that, in my opinion, would be the one of the issues that I focus on the most.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Getting kids off the technology and out the door and playing, and that's definitely a concern these days.
Yes.
So saying that, and maybe that's kind of a downer kind of question in a way. So let's turn the tables here and talking about inspiring. And what inspires you most when you think about the youth that your organization has been able to serve?
It'd just be the impact and seeing a child or youth come into the program with certain challenges, and then seeing them progress through the program and get to a place where they overcome these obstacles and challenges. We've had quite a few youth come to us very in their shell, lacking confidence and whatnot, and through mentorship and exposing them to positive environments, we've seen a lot of big changes in their life, and that honestly, and their mentality in general, and that, to me, that's the most fulfilling piece of it all.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked a lot about positivity, and you've shared some great messages, but are there messages that you'd like to share with youth who are struggling with challenges and uncertainties about themselves and their future?
Yes. I would say that with the uncertainty piece, that their life is filled with uncertainties, and so oftentimes when a particular individual is struggling with uncertainty, you feel as though it's only happening to you, and it's only you, and everyone else doesn't struggle. And so I would tell them that, everybody struggles, but in order to kind of maximize your potential, you have to develop tools to handle that uncertainty, and I'm kind of starting to sound like my sports psych here, but and so in my life, I've been very fortunate to be able to develop these tools and coping mechanisms, or however you want to articulate it. And so my recommendation for them would be to develop whatever strategy that helps them deal with uncertainty and stress. And so it could be meditation, it could be, sport, reading, something that helps them clear their minds and get them, I guess, more focused and centered, we'll say. And so, that's how I've gotten through a lot of uncertainty in my life. It may sound a little funny, but I've during I guess the most intense periods of my sport career, I spent, hours per week meditating and whatnot, and really taking care of my mental health and my brain health, because that's honestly, you only get one. Mm-hmm. And so that's what helps you, take care of business long term and really, go after things. So, yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's shift gears here and let's talk about your funding. How are you funded, and what can our community do to support your organization?
Yeah, so we've been very lucky and fortunate to receive funding from a lot of my sport ties. So a lot of corporations that have supported my athletic career have also supported the nonprofit and whatnot. And so I know that that's not sustainable. I know that we're going to have to find some different avenues, with grants and grant writing and whatnot. And so, yes, in terms of how individuals can help, I would just say, it could be a mixture of things, and like I said before, it doesn't have to be giving resources. It could be something as simple as, giving us your time, or helping us or utilizing a skill or talent that you have to help us fill a gap. It could be something as small as, volunteering one day every 2 months and whatnot, or just spreading the word, reaching out to youth that need our services, and so anything will help. Mm-hmm. And so we have to band together as a community to truly impact the youth in a meaningful way. Right.
But you are being modest. You do need funds. So people need to go on your website and reach out and support. And again, I had another opportunity to participate in one of your events. It was a fundraiser that I think it was a project of the students at St. Clair College did a party, an event for you. So third-party fundraisers are always great when others put them on for you, for us as charities, and donate the proceeds. So that's always another opportunity to support your organization. But it does cost money. Yes. You're fortunate to be at STAG. Your volunteer mentors, but I know from our homework program that our youth really like to eat. And so even the food budget for programs and materials and such. So hopefully after this podcast, more hear about what you're doing and want to support the work that you're doing with financial support, not just volunteer support.
Yes, yes.
So saying all that, Brandon, I would like to just say to you, thank you. Thank you for making the decision to stay in Windsor, and thank you for what you're doing for the youth in our community. I think you are a huge resource. Your wealth of information, your experience, your connections, but you've all put it into a way that is helping others. And, the benefits will go far, and we'll see that as the years go on. Mm-hmm. So, again, thank you for doing that. And I guess, we could be here all day because you just offer some great information, some great advice, some great suggestions. But do you have any final thoughts as we wrap up on how we can all work together to support these youth?
First, thank you so much for those kind words. And, in terms of us working together, I think that each organization has its strengths. And so really using those strengths and really coming together. And, I find that the nonprofit industry, it's very, very different than sport in the sense that everybody understands that, hey, you can't get anywhere without a team in sport and whatnot. But in the nonprofit industry, I see that a lot of organizations are very siloed off. They kind of want to stay in their own corner with their own youth and whatnot. But I think more collaboration on events and really Working together and referring children to each other. Each and every program has its own strengths and things that they do very, very well. And so that's just a long-winded way of me saying just more collaboration and working together to impact the youth, I think, would be at the top of my list.
Right. That's absolutely a great point for sure.
Yes.
It's incumbent on all of us to really know what programs and services are out there if we can't meet those needs, or if yours is the door that child youth comes to, but they need some other services, to be able to refer them elsewhere. Yes. But community collaborations is really what we here at the Children's Aid Society do very well, because we can't do everything. And it's a common theme with our podcasts about that. So we are stronger together. And I think that was a great way to end our podcast today.
Yes. So thank you again, Brandon. Again, it's been just our ultimate pleasure to have you here. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And until next time on Inspiring Community, take care.